Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is David. I'm a doctoral student at the Technical University of Munich, and in today's video I want to share with you guys how you can apply to study a PhD in Germany. So basically we have two types of PhDs. One is PhD position, and then the other we call it individual PhD. So a PhD by position is basically where the university advertise that they need a doctoral student, and also aside doing your thesis, you also undertake certain activities in the university or the department. For example, like teaching and also doing some academic research work with the department. With individual PhD, we mean that the application process or the idea started with the applicant, and also your finances or how you're going to finance the PhD or the doctoral program is entirely by you from your pocket or maybe by scholarship. So basically with PhD position, you'll be paid like normally it's treated like a job, so you'll be paid a salary based on some skill they've developed for PhD students in Germany. And so with PhD by position, there's kind of a different application process compared to individual PhD. Maybe the documents at the end of the day could be similar, but the channel in which you go through to get your PhD, or sorry, to start your PhD might be different when you want to compare the two of them. So with the application process, let's start with the PhD by position. So normally this is advertised by the universities. You can just go to any university website. You can see the number of PhD positions they are willing to take and from which department. And in case it falls under your field of study, you can apply for them. So normally with a PhD by position, there's already a supervisor, or let's say a professor, who is willing to take you, and then also normally they have already developed a research idea or project which you are going to be part of. So normally you don't come up with a topic or the project idea, but it's already been there and you've been invited to do it. Sometimes they can also give a general theme, and then they ask you to find a specific topic relating to that theme, and then you develop it. Most of the things are already set by the department, so you, the applicant, has to maybe write some motivational letter or personal statement, some people call it. And then you have to also submit your documents and certain CVs, for example. So basically you are not applying it as I'm going to describe the PhD, the individual PhD, right? When it comes to individual PhD, you, the applicant, has to start the entire process by yourself, right? So basically, first of all, what you have to do is to develop your own research idea or topic, right? You have to find an interest, something you're interested in. And then when you find something that you are interested in, I would advise that you write the proposal, right? The PhD proposal by yourself, stating the issues and how you're going to do the PhD. And one thing that most people forget to do is to include a timeline of how you're going to do each step of the PhD, right? So each chapter or each phase of the PhD, how you're going to do it and in which time frame you plan to do that. Another thing that you have to also include in your application, I'm talking about individual PhD, is that you need to also state how you're going to finance the doctoral program, right? So normally if it's by scholarship, you have to also tell which scholarships you are applying for. If you want to finance it by yourself or maybe somebody sponsoring you, you have to also state that. So after you have developed these ideas and gathered all these documents, then you have to start approaching professors or supervisors, potential supervisors. Wait guys, I have to chip in this. I forgot to say that a PhD in Germany is actually free. So you don't have to pay tuition fee, right? So practically you don't have to pay tuition fee, but technically people who pay taxes are paying for our fees, right? So it's free on codes, but so when I mean you have to find a scholarship or you have to finance it by yourself, I mean that you have to find it to pay your rent and what you eat and things like that, not to pay school fees, even though you pay a semester fee, which is not that much. So it's not termed as a tuition fee, it's just a a student contribution fee or something, but that's not that much. So this is something I wanted to chip in. If you want to find professors, I would advise that you go to you can start with a specific universities that you already know of, and then go to the department which your career or your academic qualifications falls under, and then you go to the professors who are in this department, and then try to search for their research interest, right? Normally they have a place where they put their research interest or topics they are willing to supervise. So after you find those ones that are aligned with your proposal, then I'll advise that you start to send emails to these professors. Now I can tell you that you don't have to give up if in case you send an email and you don't get a reply. At least it's normal, right? Most of the professors, they have so many jobs, so many activities, duties to do in the department or in the academic field, right? So sometimes you're not going to get feedback for all the applications or the emails you're going to send to professors, and you have to make sure that that does not discourage you, right? And so you have to send as many as you can. Who knows which one will apply? When I started applying for PhDs, I did the same. I was fortunate to get some feedback from some of the professors. Some of them will say that, okay, I have so many students, they are going on leave. Some of them will give certain reasons why they cannot take you, right? Sometimes it's not like your proposal is bad or your academic strength is not good, or no, you don't have to think in that way, right? Because there could be several reasons why a professor might not take you, and that's normal, right? So basically with an individual PhD, after you have sent several emails, right, and then you get one back which somebody is willing to supervise you, then you have to now start with a university application process. And so this case, it's just a formality for you to just log in into their portal and upload your certificates, CVs, and things like, and your proposal, right? And so it's not an application where they are going to decide whether to take you or not. The decision of you being taken by the school basically depends on the supervisor. If the supervisor is willing and he or she is available to supervise your work, that's the major issue in Germany. So if you want to study a PhD in Germany, then the hardest point in this application process is actually finding a supervisor. Because once you find a supervisor, the rest is just a formality sake. You just have to upload the documents and you are good to go. Normally, most of the PhDs, they require a master degree, right? So this is something maybe some might take bachelor's degree, but I'm not sure about that. So you have to also at least go through the university website to find some details as to which types of certificates you can use for a PhD in that university. So before I end the video, I want to share with you the advantages and disadvantages with these two types of PhDs. So basically with a PhD by position, one of the advantages that you are going to be paid, right? You're going to be paid, and it's something that everybody will want to. But also it's difficult to get in because there are thousands of people applying for one position, and so sometimes it's tough to get those kind of positions. But the disadvantage also is that with PhD by position, you're going to undertake certain research activities, or you're going to be teaching and involved in the university activities sometimes, and sometimes kind of taking most of your time from doing your own research. And most of the people who undertake the PhD position, they take a longer time to complete, right? And so and that is an advantage for a individual PhD, all right? Because individual PhD, you are on your own, you do your research daily if you want to. Now, one of the disadvantages with PhD, individual PhD, is the fact that you have to also finance it by yourself. You have to write messages or find a scholarship to scholarship organizations here and there to finance your PhD. Also, regarding PhD in Germany, one of the things that you have to also note is that we have a PhD by publications and monograph. So this is basically after you've been admitted into a PhD program, then you have to also decide by you have to decide with your supervisor which kind of PhD you're going to do, right? Because we have a PhD where you publish 3 or 4 papers in a journal, international journal, and then at the end of the day you have to combine them to form a thesis, right? And we have the monograph. The monograph is what we all did in the bachelor's or master's, where you actually write the thesis entirely without publication, and then you submit to the committee, and then they'll review and everything. So you have to decide from the start which route you're going. For me, I'm taking a PhD by publication, and I think the benefits with that is the fact that at the end of your PhD, you know that you have also publications to your name, and something that is good, right? But it's also difficult, the fact that you have to publish it. Sometimes you have to be scrutinized by reviewers, by journals, getting rejections and all that, and it can discourage you sometimes if you want to go through that path. But anything that's difficult, at the end of the day, if you come out of it, it's gonna be beneficial for you and it's gonna be good, right? And so you have to decide from the start which type of PhD you're going to do, or what kind of dissertation you're going to finish with, right? So that's something that you have to also decide with your professor after you get an admission. So basically, PhD in Germany takes about 3 years to 5 years to complete, right? I've seen many people completing within the 4-year range, right? And few of them maybe 3 and 5, but most people complete within the 4-year period. And I think it's normal, even in the United States, I think it's 5 years or so. And one thing good about PhD in Germany is the fact that you just do some few courses. It's not compulsory in a way. You have some compulsory ones that you do at the beginning of your PhD, but it's not like a classes where you have to go to class like every day or so. It's just like a 1 or 2 days course that you have to do. And also they have other courses every semester, maybe 1 or 2 courses you can do. But it's not really strictly like a course as in bachelor's or master's. And so most of the activities are by research, right? And so you have to know the difference. In the United States, for instance, they do the first year or 2 courses, and then after that you do your research. But here you can start the research even from day 1, and also alongside you can do some courses, and then you're good to go. So basically that's it about PhD in Germany. I think you've learned a lot. If you want to study a PhD in Germany, then you have to find which way you want to go. Is it by position? Are you going to apply several of them until you get a luck to get one? Or you're going to actually develop your own proposal and then send to supervisors or professors to take you on. So which way you want to go is all good. And so that's it, and thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you. Bye.